All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for attending a Lunch and Learn today with Craft Lake City and Utah Community Action. This is our Local Voices virtual discussion to talk about the plakats that are up downtown and the important work that Utah Community Action is doing in our community. So before we get started, just a couple quick notes. Please make sure your microphone is on mute so that everyone can better hear the presentation. And also, this is meant to be interactive, so don't be shy. If you have a question, please put it in the chat and we'll address all your questions at the end of the presentation. And at the end of this, we'll be emailing you a survey link to get your feedback about what you learned, what you had hoped to learn, and just more general information. So thanks for also taking a part in that. So today we're going to hear from, I just wanted to mention our speakers. We have some wonderful people from Utah Community Action. We have Carla Frame, the Development Manager of Utah Community Action, Taylor Skipwith, the URSIA and Family Partnership Manager, Brandy Christensen, the HousingCase Manager, and Rodney Jensen, the Nutrition Services Accounting Manager. And from Craft Lake City, myself, I'm Amy Stocks. I'm the Community Inclusion Coordinator for Craft Lake City, and on the call we have Shelby Ling, who is our Artisan and Programs Manager. She also did most of the work for curating these projects with Utah Community Action. I also want to mention our plakat partners, who is the Center for Living City and the Temporary Museum of Permanent Change. So thanks everyone for spending your time to let the community know about everything that you're doing. So for those of you who aren't all super familiar with Craft Lake City, we are a local nonprofit whose mission is to educate, promote, and inspire local artisans while elevating the creative culture of Utah arts community through science, technology, and art. We do this in a few different ways through a few different programming. The most well-known are going to be our annual DIY festival, which this year will be held at the Utah State Fair Park on August 13th, 14th, and 15th. And then we also have a holiday market at the Monarch in Ogden's Nine Rails Creative District. We offer virtual programming, which are live streamed workshops by local artisans. These range from gourmet food to floral arranging to fiber arts. Upcoming, we have a paper peonies workshop with Sarah Dawson of Lively Clementine on April 28th and a punch needle workshop with Jenny Banley of Threadhaven on April 29th. We offer other virtual programming in the recorded sense. We have online craft workshops taught by local talented artisans, from dyed silk scarves, feminist constellations, felt wall hangings. Those can be accessed on our website for a fee. And then Craft Lake City also partnered with Google Fiber to present a 6-part STEM Kids online workshop video series, recorded and on our website as well. The other thing that Craft Lake City does is they curate a couple different art projects that we're actually going to talk about today. These exhibits and installations run along Broadway, south between 200 and East and 200 West. This is a great chance for community members and passerbys to view local art and the work of local organizations in a safe and socially distanced environment. So if you get the chance, please go down and see these. We'll be talking more about Utah Community Action's plakats. We also have so there's 14 plakats, these still frames in total. And right now, Utah Community Action has 6 of these plakats dedicated to their different programming, which we'll talk about a little bit more. And we have 8 of these plakats that are featuring our local artist, Laya Yang, who makes mirrored helmets. So there's a lot to see, so be sure to head downtown and go see these in person. So Craft Lake City is really excited about this partnership with the Community Action, and just a little bit about Community Action. Founded in 1965, they have been a provider of comprehensive services for income-eligible families for years. These programs help to address the barriers to self-reliance and strengthen families, build communities through their education programs. So we worked with them to create designs for 6 different plakat frames, each one highlighting one of their 6 core programs: Head Start, Adult Education, Case Management and Housing, Nutrition, Utility Assistance, and Weatherization. And today we're going to specifically talk about Case Management and Housing, the Head Start program, and nutrition. For the first one, I'd love to pass the mic over to Brandy Christensen, the Housing Case Manager. This plakat specifically looks at the housing and case management that Utah Community Action provides, and I'd love to hear more about your program and maybe how this image communicates to passerbys what you do in the community. It's a very striking image and evokes some emotion, and I'd love to hear more from you, Brandy, if you're ready to go ahead and tell us about your program. We can also come back to Brandy.
And I didn't have Zoom on my work computer, so I'm just trying to get everything transferred over to my home computer so that I can present.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'll just move on to the next slide. And
sorry.
Oh, no worries. We'll come back to you. So Taylor, can you tell us about this plakat specifically and the family partnership, your program?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us today. I'm Taylor Skipwith, the Family Partnership and URSIA Manager over our Head Start program. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about Head Start. These are in the picture, our children within our Head Start program. So Head Start is a holistic program built for children and families to help them build self-reliance. We serve low-income families that meet the federal poverty guidelines, so children ages 0 to 5. And we also service homeless, foster, and special needs children as well. We have about 1,800 children currently in our early Head Start, our child care partnership, which is 0 to 3, and Head Start, which is 3 to 5. And we have about 68 Head Start classrooms within the Valley and 21 early Head Start classrooms. And we just were awarded an early Head Start expansion. So starting in the 2021-2022 school year, we're increasing the number of our early Head Start slots. So our mission, right, is to prepare children for kindergarten. So our school readiness, which is to really the key role to prepare children for future school success. And our teachers are designed to have a curriculum designed to encourage individualized development in 5 key areas. We really look at social emotional development, and helping children develop those social skills and emotional skills, as well as healthy concepts of relationship building and self-identity, and just building on behaviors and just setting them up for emotional well-being in middle school and adolescence. We also focus on it's a fundamental skill, and we also individualize for dual language students whose first language is not English. So we really want to ensure that they have their opportunities to learn in their home language. Another area we focus is literacy skills, foundation for reading and writing, and familiarizing children with opportunities to learn about books and language. And then mathematics skills, just the basic understanding of numbers, shapes, patterns, really building their counting as math skills develop as they, in the early years, to help connect ideas for them when they reach abstract thinking and higher education, right, in middle school, adding, subtracting. So just the basic understanding in Head Start or for numbers and counting. And then physical development. Physical development is huge, as the physical well-being and health of our children is critical for their success in education. And so classrooms provide opportunities for them to develop healthy habits and develop a healthy lifestyle for a foundation of lifelong learning. So we encourage play and exercise and outdoor experiences. So those are the kind of the school readiness goals we address. We also, it's a holistic approach for not only children, but their parents. So we do a lot of parent engagement activities. We recognize that Head Start could not be met without their parent engagement, and parents are the #1 educators for their children. And so we really want to focus on how we can set parents up for success to help their children through the school. So we have a wide variety of strategies which starts off with teaching them the importance of their role for their child's education, and provide opportunities for parents to contribute to Utah Community Action and Head Start. So they are part of classroom committees, policy council, UCA Head Start ambassadors, opportunities to really share and educate themselves on their community around them. So we utilize an individual approach, and we have 2 parenting curriculums that we established through Head Start and really to support the families. We have Ready Rosie and a positive discipline curriculum. So those are 2 ways for us to really build parenting skills and curriculum skills for them to teach their child at home. And we also like to, our case managers, family advocates, and teachers connect families to community resources and referrals to really build their collaboration with community agencies that might help them with comprehensive services to really meet their needs and to move them on to the next phase of self-reliance. So we also partner with the other programs within Utah Community Action to assist them if they need adult education, nutrition, heat and utility, housing services, to really establish a strong partnership so that they can move on when they're into kindergarten and know where to find resources when needed. Another area of Head Start is health. So health is a #1 priority and concern for our children. We work closely to help identify medical and dental homes, to establish comprehensive medical care so that when they leave our program, they know where to access those services and they can continue to support their child in their development. So we provide, within our Head Start agency, we provide comprehensive preventative screenings and exams. So we ensure that children are up to date on their immunizations, that they receive physical and dental exams, they have vision and hearing screenings, as well as developmental and social emotional screenings. To ensure that we're providing the best services or referrals for any services they might need. And we also take an active role to promote oral health, as we know that it is an emphasis to establish good oral habits at an early age to maintain through life, as oral issues or any decaying or can lead to issues in learning and education, as pain leads to other issues if they can't concentrate. And so we really want to make sure that families are established and have those primary care providers available to them. And if not, we help and assist them in finding those case managers, meet with them to set up goals and establish those if needed. So through COVID, we've had some updates for our Head Start program. We switched to a curbside pickup and drop off as buildings are closed to all non-essential employees or community members. We moved to an on-site and virtual model, but this fall we're excited to have all on-site enrollment as we return back to full enrollment of on-site children. So we have had on-site and virtual this year, but we're excited to have everyone back on site. We also did drive-through meal pickup for children who are virtual. And then we did virtual parent engagement and workshops and virtual policy council meetings. So we moved to a virtual aspect in our workshops and events to ensure that parents still had an opportunity to engage within the program. And so one thing that the community can do to help support Head Start is really, if you know anybody within the community who is interested or have children between the ages of 0 and 5 that would love to be enrolled in Head Start, you can check out our website or email the URSIA team at utahca.org or call a number, and I can leave these all in the chat so you guys can access them as well. And then Head Start volunteers play a huge role in Head Start and within our program and our classrooms, just to ensure that children and families receive time and guidance necessary to become self-reliant. So, and if you're interested in any volunteer opportunities, please check out our website, as we would love volunteers once we reopen to come on site and participate and share. We often have children or male engagement week where we have police officers and fire department or any community members throughout throughout Salt Lake that would be interested in sharing their career with children or what they do for a living. So it's a great opportunity to get involved if you're interested. So that's a little bit about Head Start. Does anybody have any questions?
So it looks like on this plakat, if people were downtown viewing it, it looks like they can text to make a donation.
Yes.
Which is incredible, right? So you're viewing what kind of a synopsis of what your program does, and then you can text, and then it looks like there's a QR code as well, and that might probably take you to your website.
Yeah, so on the plakat, there is our information about our Reimagine campaign and donations. And if you would like to make a donation over the phone or mail in, there's also our social media. And so you can access our website, which has more information about Head Start, how to apply for Head Start, but all the information you can need to check out more about Head Start.
Great. That's a lot of information. You guys have been very busy pivoting to this online format. So I commend your work as you continue to serve the community, regardless of the barriers. So that's really commendable. Thank you so much. Do you have any client stories that you'd like to share, or?
Yes, we actually had a client recently who submitted a success story. She is a single mother to a 4-year-old child within our program. And she learned of Utah Community Action through one of her health clinics that she attends, and saw a flyer. And she applied for Head Start. And she's also has kind of a wraparound service. She used other programs within our agency, Heat and Housing, and she has, really benefit from Utah Community Action and her self-reliance, and she has made it so that, for the last 2 years, she was out of work and could not afford childcare and was having some health issues, and she really thought that her autonomy was, a source of fear and sadness, as she really was focusing and wanted to ensure that her child was successful. So Head Start was her first stop. So she enrolled her daughter into Head Start, and which allowed her to go back to work, which really sustained that self independence, and regained that confidence. So while her daughter was back at preschool, she saw the growth and development she was attaining, and really the relationships she was building with her peers and her teachers. So she walked away with such a great experience, and that she would come home and, every day and talk about what she was learning in her classroom, and the program really went above and beyond to help support her. So she said that her family advocate gave her opportunities and resources that she connected with, which helped her provide transportation and heat and housing services. So we connected her with heat and housing, which allowed her to, after she gained employment, to lease an apartment and helped with her utilities and first month's rent. So she saw really, how much her during these uncertain times of COVID, how a program could help her, and in a critical moment in her life gave her a space that she felt belonging and a community and encouragement from the staff who assisted her. So she her daughter is still enrolled, and they have seen great success. And she really cannot speak more highly of the Head Start and Heat and Housing program, in which really helped her family reach, new goals within their family. So yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, great work. Well, that's really important work you're doing in the community, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us more about it. And then again, like, if someone wants to find your website, you can also go downtown and look at these plakats, and you can scan the QR code. You can text to make a donation. It's pretty simple, and you can find out more information on these plakats or at their website or on social media. So thanks so much, Taylor, for sharing more about your program.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Brandy Christensen. If you'd like to talk a little bit about housing and case management.
Sure. Our housing and case management program, we're targeted to the community's most vulnerable populations, and we assist with helping them to obtain or maintain self-reliance, stable, affordable housing. And the process includes like assessing the client's needs and providing timely interventions, and then just empowering families with transferable skills, like gaining educational knowledge through either our education program that we have at Utah Community Action or outside resources that we can refer them to. And just trying to also reduce intergenerational poverty. Our mission in the Housing and Case Management Department is to facilitate housing stability by empowering those in poverty to find their path to self-sufficiency. Just some targeted goals that we have are to provide housing stabilization services to seniors, families, veterans, and individuals with disabilities in maintaining their safe and affordable housing. We facilitate timely social financial interventions by holistic case management and provide wraparound services through referrals and other resources that we can identify that they might have barriers affecting their ability to reach self-sustainability without assistance from rental assistance at Utah Community Action. So the target population that are coming through to us without COVID, it's the target population would be like low income individuals and households that are an imminent threat to becoming homeless. And so we try to work with the rental assistance, and we also have a diversion program that we operate out in the community through community centers and try to do what we can to make sure that people remain stably housed, or if they get into a shelter, that it's for a shorter period of time that we can get them like back out and trying to regain their self-sufficiency. So some other programs that we also offer is mediation, like tenant landlord mediation, if there's courts involved with evictions, and attorneys, and we have a mediator that will meet with them, and it's a place where they can both just work together to try to come to a solution, so there's not charges and the tenant is unable to then even get another place to live because they then have poor credit with an eviction on their record. Let me see. Just as far as like lately, some statistics, we've been taking over 750 calls per month for rental assistance. And in 2020, we served over 7,500 individual households with rental assistance, and over 11 million in emergency rental assistance was provided in Salt Lake and Tooele County. So we've definitely been busy this year. So as far as like our methods with the holistic case management, the approach with the holistic case management is, instead of just supplying the client or tenant with rental assistance, we're using the Arizona Self-Sufficiency Matrix. It's a tool just to assess where the client is in their current circumstances, and then being able to find ways to assist them by setting goals and trying to help them along the way find just ways to achieve like smart goals so that they're attainable and they're making progress along the way while they're getting rental assistance. They're working on building other areas of their life. Another area that we try to focus on is if they don't have health insurance, try to connect them to access for that, or get them in contact with free or cheaper options for medical and dental assistance. We will just like track the progress and meet with the clients once a month and go over their goals and work with them to find ways to access resources in the community on their own and build their own network within the community and be able to advocate for themselves when they do need things. And then as well, like referring them if they have children that are of preschool age, getting the kids into Head Start where they're willing to. This year's been a little different, but that's usually how things go. So as far as some measurable benefits or key approaches that we're working on, just as far as for this next year, we're seeking to provide rental assistance to households that are 80% of the average median income. And at the end of their, it's usually like 6 months that they're able to get assistance if they need it. It's not always that that's how long individuals ask for assistance or require assistance, but by the end of the time that they're in there with us and the case management, we hope to engage all households that come in unemployed, get them connected with workforce services and job skills, resume building. So we're trying to make sure that we're coming at it from a wraparound approach to assist the clients that we're working with. And then as far as you were asking for like our current biggest challenges, and the challenges that we've identified as the housing market right now is it's hard for anybody to find and keep affordable housing. The demand is up, the cost is increasing as well. And then household income is a difficult one. There's many families that are working like part-time or precarious labor and several jobs at one time and still can't make a living wage. So that's hard to be able to help in the time that we have, with it being like short-term assistance, to prepare them to be able to afford their own housing without assistance. So we do try to connect them with other more long-term resources where we can, but not everybody qualifies for that. So that's hard as well. And then another issue that comes up with the rental assistance, most of the grant funding that we have, they'll assist with base rent and not really much else. So it's a struggle to provide or obtain funding for other additional things that the tenant might owe. And so those would be some bigger challenges that we come across.
It sounds like this year has really has seen an increase in need for your services, and I think we're excited to partner with you to kind of portray this so that everyone can see the work that you all do that's often unseen, and people will know how better to access either to make a donation or to volunteer or to gain access to these services. So thank you for working with us to put these plakats up downtown so that the greater community can better see. And for me, I just look at the image of a mother and a little one, and it does really put a face to this need, and hopefully people are stepping up to help where we can, and or becoming more aware. And do you have like a success story that you could share with us over the last year, even though it's been kind of inundated with new clients and struggles?
So I grabbed just an email that I received regarding just the service that they provided, so I could read that if you'd like. He says, "I would like to express my deepest gratitude for helping me to keep my rent paid at this very hard moment. Your work is so valuable. And besides that, I want to say that I never received such kind and efficient attention from someone like Jane Smith. She is so patient and positive. I feel very well respected by her. Please send her my deepest appreciation for her incredible and human work." And it just, like, being able to help families stay stably housed and provide a roof over their head for their family and the household. Um, it's hard for people to reach out and ask for assistance. So to be able to provide that level of care, I appreciate the case managers that we have and the work that they do every day.
Yeah, definitely. That is a hard task to take on. So thank you also for what you do in the community, and Utah community action in general. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about your specific program?
I think most of that was covered. Just, you had asked a couple questions, and so the other one was just how can, like, community support assist our program. And so again, we would probably go back to just that gap funding if anybody is interested in donating to that to cover client and tenant like costs that they can't afford, like attorney fees and things that pile up that we can't pay with the rental assistance. So
Great. Well, thank you so much for letting us know more about your program and how people can help and get involved, and also how people can obtain these services when it is hard sometimes to reach out. So hopefully people are seeing these displayed in downtown and knowing that help is out there, and kind of breaking that first barrier, which is sometimes just asking for help. So thank you so much for being here today, Brandy, and talking with us more about the housing and case management element of Utah Community Action.
Thank you.
Looks like we've got one more speaker two more. The next speaker from Utah Community Action is Rodney Jensen, who's the Nutrition Services Accounting Manager. And we have this plakat, which depicts a young child drinking some milk. So would you like to talk to us about your program, Rodney?
Absolutely. I appreciate everyone coming here today to talk a little bit about Utah Community Action. I'm actually going to steal the information that's found on the plakat to talk to you about a little bit about our program, some of our challenges, share a success story, and how the community can support the program. So Utah Community Action is founded on the belief that access to healthy and food provides foundations for future success. Our nutrition program includes a central kitchen, the Redwood and Copperview Food and Resource Centers, as well as partnerships with Salt Lake County Aging and Adult Services to provide meals at the Mill Creek, Midvale, and Draper Senior Cafes. From healthy meals for preschoolers and seniors to emergency food assistance during the pandemic, this program has provided countless curbside pickup meals for the community members facing food insecurity. In 2020, UCA was able to provide 14,578 boxes of emergency food, as well as over 720,000 meals for children and seniors. A little bit about the picture there. Once you look at it, one thing that comes to my mind immediately is food is a basic need in the human society. That's one thing that we need at all times. And once we face a pandemic, there are those that are out there that's one of the first things that is shortened, because if you lose your job due to a pandemic, food's one of the last things that you can provide to the table. A study came out that stated that the most nutritious meals that families and children are receiving are at schools. And as we know that there is a gap between affordable, nutritious meals and providing those nutritious meals to children. If you are someone that is short on money, you might go to a fast food store or buy something that's not necessarily nutritious for your family. And so we at Utah Community Action use other programs such as a child adult care food program to make sure that those food that we're providing to the children is nutritious and is something that is going to sustain them. We provide up to and over 2/3 of the child's nutritious needs in our Head Start classrooms. So this is something that's very important to sustain, as we talked about beforehand, to make sure that the child is healthy and being able to learn and not having to worry about having a hungry stomach, and those in the community. A success story that I'd like to share that's actually on the black card as well. It says that Utah Community Action has been there when it's been a couple days before payday or a couple days before we get food stamps, that we've been short because the kids wanted to eat extra or they were out of school for a couple extra days. They've been there to get us food to get us through. And I think that's an excellent opportunity to service the community, especially when it comes to food. We know that food insecurity rose throughout the pandemic, and that with Utah Community Actions, we were able to help curb those to some of our families that were facing those insecurities. The way that the community can support the program is through donations, as we've talked about beforehand, and volunteers. We have a program coming up to service those during the summer food service program that when children are out of school, they can come to 5 of our locations, which you can find online when we have the sites up, and can get a free meal for both dinner and breakfast for the next day, so that they can have a hot meal and it's nutritious while they're out of school. So we need volunteers for those as well. So if you're looking for volunteer opportunities, because you're not necessarily able to donate monetarily, we would appreciate those volunteers. And that information can be found online, which I think has already been shared through our chat feature here. So outside of that, is there anyone that has any questions about the nutrition program at Utah Community Action?
You mentioned that I think that's a great opportunity for folks that need meals outside of the school hours, the dinner and the breakfast. I'm assuming you saw quite an increase in that need this year. Do you have any kind of like numbers or quantify that a little bit for the communities just to understand the levity of that?
Absolutely. So a couple numbers that came through. Traditionally, last year, because our centers closed down and schools closed down, we offered this summer food nutrition program, which we saw that over 720,000 meals were served. Traditionally, we only served 6,000 meals during that program. So that was a large increase there. Same thing with our senior meals. When the pandemic onset, we thought that what are we going to do? You know, these seniors are the most vulnerable, and the meals that we're providing, or we're doing a curbside pickup, are they going to come out into the community? And they responded, yes. Our meals definitely increased there, which was surprising for us, that the services were still needed, even though, you know, vulnerable populations were out there. So we definitely saw an increase throughout the nutrition needs of the community. So those are, you know, a couple numbers that I have to share with you about that.
That is a huge increase, and to take that on as one organization, you know, thank you again for the work that you all have done, especially over this last year when these needs increase so much. And I think it's amazing that you all are there for the community, and we're just really excited to spread this information to people. And Rodney mentioned that there is a quote. I don't know that you can see it on the screen share that I'm offering, but you definitely can see it in person if you visit these plakats. There are quotes on each of them that talks about what Utah Community Action has done for that person individually. So a lot of, you know, success stories on there, and kind of hoping, you know, to encourage people to either, like you said, donate or volunteer your time or access these services if you need. So is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your program specifically, Rodney?
No, the only other thing that comes to mind is, I think I might have mentioned, but if I didn't, that we've serviced these children that are at Head Start during the school year too. So that we're a year-round thing, not just during the summer, but overall we make sure that everyone receives the nutrition that they need in our program. So I appreciate the time to be here.
Yeah, thank you again. And just another reminder, all of these plakats are up along 300 South in downtown Salt Lake. So take a walk by, find out more, you know, read more about what Utah Community Action is doing in our community, scan the QR code, make a donation, get involved, or pass the information along to someone who might need the services. And next, I'd love to talk with Carla Frame, the development manager. You know, you designed these plakats to be presented in downtown Salt Lake to kind of convey the message from each of these programs. And I'd love to hear more about your thought behind like the design and getting the word out there to the community. Yeah, so go ahead and share a little on that, Carla, if you will.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate everybody that joined this call. For us, it's an opportunity to share everything that we do in the community. I know our nonprofit has 6 programs, and sometimes it's hard to understand the impact of each of them because it can be a lot, right? So in April, we will host our first fundraising event of the year, and all the funds support all our 6 programs. That means all the funding will go to either a family that needed a meal, and also Head Start, somebody that needs rental assistance. Every year we serve over 50,000 people, and last year we served over 60,000. That just tells you like the need that the community has right now. And a lot of the families that came to us last year are families that were seeking assistance for the first time, that they have never been in that position before. And that can be your neighbor, your friend. It could have been me that suddenly you have this situation where you need the support. I think as like the team was mentioning, sometimes for people it's hard to ask for help or they don't know where to go. So the goal with this event is that we can share our message, our mission, what we do. The event will last 1 week, Monday through Friday, so April 26th to April 30th. And every day on social media and on our event website, we will share different stories from frontline staff and also testimonials. So we will share a family about maybe a mom and how we supported her, somebody that got help paying their bills. So all the week, we invite you to join us on social media, our website, and there are many ways you can support our event. It can be only reposting our content. Maybe the people you know, right? It's different than the people that I know. Maybe your friends have never heard about what we do or who we are. So reposting our content helps us a lot. Making a donation. I will put in the chat like all the ways you can support. And as Ronit said, volunteering. We always need volunteers. Our food pantries are mainly run by volunteers. So when we don't have volunteers, it's really hard for us to provide the services to the community. So I really invite you to join us for the next whole week to see our stories, learn a little bit more about what we do. And I really appreciate you taking this time today to join us.
Well, thank you so much for designing these plakats and for everything that you do for Utah Community Action. Unless there's anything else, we can open up the chat for any questions for anyone. We talked with Taylor and Rodney and Brandy and Carla. So if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. It looks like there's some stuff, information in the chat right now to follow Utah Community Action and ways that you can get involved and make a difference, how you can donate, and sharing their stories on social media. You know, I know for me, seeing these images connected to the work that is done it resonates, right? It resonates with the general public. And so we hope that these will kind of spread the word a little more and people stop and pay attention to what's being done within our community that's often unseen. So we're really happy to have the opportunity to work with Utah Community Action and promote their work, their hard work, and their increasingly hard work in our community. And then just a reminder, these plakats will only be up until the end of April. So you'll want to make sure and go down and see them. And while you're down there, scan the QR code and make a donation. All of the things that have been mentioned. Was there anything else that you'd like to say, Carla?
I don't think so. I hope that the information we shared today was helpful. And I hope that in the future with all of you, like we can see you at one of our locations volunteering or partnering with us anyway.
Definitely. It does look like we've got a couple of things in the chat. Let's make sure. Oh, yeah, from Shelby. I'd love to hear more about the theme of reimagine and how that connects to the design elements of the plakat artwork.
I think for this year, we wanted to have a positive message. And I think the team Reimagine came about thinking how together we could support the community, right? How together we could reimagine like everybody having access to food, or everybody having like a safe home, or everybody having access to education. So that was the key word with reimagine what we can do together. And we wanted to be very careful because a lot of the families we serve has gone through so much. We didn't want to take away of what they have gone through, right? It was more like showcasing how they have overcome these situations in their life and how much they have accomplished and how like together we keep supporting that. So we try to use these images in a way that were like friendly. It kind of play a little bit with the Reimagine word with the shapes and the circles, but that was our goal, just how amazing it would be that everybody could have access to most of these basic needs and services.
Yeah, I'm just kind of clicking through as you're talking about the designs of the plakats. Yeah, they're really striking images and then really well designed. And I love that positive message, as other people have mentioned in the chat, of reimagining, a community with future school success and safe and affordable housing and nutrition. So I think it's a great design and a great message to get out to the community. So thank you. All right, if there are no other questions, we want to thank you for taking your lunch hour to learn more. Really quickly, we will mention, yes, there are QR codes on the designs that people can scan while they visit in person. So make sure you go and visit those in person and scan those QR codes. And then there's also a code that you can text and the number information. And then I think your website is on there as well. So thank you so much, Taylor, Rodney, Brandy, and Carla, for joining us today and for all the work that you do in the community. It's invaluable work. And so we're really, Catholic City's really proud to partner with you in these plakats and get the word out about your organization and so many things that you do in the community that many people might not even realize. There are other programs that they run, and those are featured on the other plakats, so make sure to go down and check those out. And then before we end today, I do need to mention that this event is part of the Salt Lake County Zoo Arts and Parks virtual bingo. So head to zapisu.org to mark off a square and participate throughout the month. And then we need to thank our supporters, Salt Lake County through the Zoo Arts and Parks, the Salt Lake City Arts Council, the George and Dolores Eccles Foundation, Susan Denker's Family Foundation, Utah Arts and Museum, the funding from the state of Utah, and the National Endowment for the Arts. This program is also supported in part by the Center for the Living City and the Temporary Museum of Permanent Change. And as I said before, we will be sending out a survey to everyone at the conclusion of this virtual event, so you can give us your feedback and visit. I'm going to find your website in the chat. Visit one of these links that have been posted in the chat, the utahca.org, where you can donate, volunteer, or receive services. So thanks so much, everyone, for being here. And thanks again for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you
for having us.
Thank you.